Welcome to that Groovy Scoobcast, your go-to audio hub for all things Scooby-Doo.
Oh, well, let's see what kind of view we have from up here. Oh, well, we're gonna have to complain to Mr. Reed about this, Derek. We won't be able to see anything if somebody doesn't move this ghost out of our way. Huh? Did I, say ghost?
My name's Derek.
And I'm Shannon.
Thank you for joining us today. Today we are watching Rocky Mountain Yiiiii from Scooby-Doo and Scrappy-Doo. I wonder how that sounded on the mic.
I hope it sounded great.
Before we start doing anything today, I just want to make a shout out that Jeremiah Pratt is scary looking.
Yeah. No, that's a valid...
And then he talks, and now he's not scary anymore.
And also, Jeremiah Pratt is recognizable to, everybody.
I know. This just obscure guy who died in an avalanche in 1865. Everyone knows that guy.
Everybody. That's Jeremiah Pratt.
Yeah. Before we hop into our review of this episode, we are going to conduct our weekly Mystery Machine match. The go-to... I was about to say our slogan.
Yeah.
That's not correct. Our weekly Scooby-Doo trivia competition, where Shannon and I try to see which one of us knows Scooby-Doo better than the other. Right now, we are sitting with me with 4 points, and Shannon with 6. No, 7. You're sitting with 7.
Woohoo!
Isn't that shocking?
Yeah.
I'm shook.
You're shooketh.
Yes.
You've been shook to the core.
Are you ready to continue your reign of the Mystery Machine match this season?
I hope so. It's my season.
It's your season.
It's mine!
You were so close last season.
I was so close last season, so I just, I need to keep up just a significant lead so that even when I get the last card wrong on the last episode that we have to do, I still win.
Yeah. Well, you're doing a good job so far. So, without further ado, Shannon, you can go first.
On what river does the gang meet Josie and the Pussycats? Mississippi or Missouri?
Mississippi?
Missouri.
Was it Missouri? Darn. All right, here is your first question. Where does Mystery Inc. have an adventure with Phyllis Diller? Magic Mansion or Creepy Castle?
The Creepy Castle?
It was Magic Mansion.
I have no idea who that even is.
Phyllis Diller? You don't know who Phyllis Diller is?
No.
Oh. Well, I just like the obscure names. Magic Mansion or Creepy Castle. Neither of those are at all identifiable to anywhere.
We've had about 12 of each, so...
All right, what's your next question?
Which star or stars have made the most appearances on the new Scooby-Doo movies?
I think it would be the Harlem Globetrotters.
Do you know how many times that they were on?
3.
Good job.
Was I right?
Yeah.
Yay! I have finally scored a point, and I don't even know how long. Here's your next question. In 1973, King Sealy Thermos made what product featuring Mystery Inc. in front of a haunted house?
Was it a thermos?
No, it was a lunchbox.
Damn it!
I think it came with a thermos.
So I should get a half a point?
No. Those aren't things. What's your last question for me today?
In Guess Who's Not Coming to Dinner, who is the estate's wealthy owner? Captain Moody or Colonel Frown?
Captain Moody.
Yeah.
Yay! Here is your final question today. Whose ghost does the gang along with the Harlem Globetrotters meet up with in The Ghostly Creep from the Deep? Redbeard or Blackbeard?
Redbeard.
Yes, you are correct. Well, it looks like today I am finishing with 6 points and you are finishing with 8, maintaining your lead.
Woohoo!
Guys, I need to figure out a way to get ahead of her. I could kill her.
Then you'd need a new co-host.
I can find that.
Doubtful. You got the time for that.
Well, that was this week's Mystery Machine match. so now we are going to start talking about Rocky Mountain Yiiiii! The stupidest title I've ever read for a Scooby-Doo episode in my life.
I kind of like it.
I just don't get it.
No, they never once, nothing is gonna lead to Yee. It doesn't mean anything, nobody says it.
Yeah. It just kind of seemed like a dumb, one of those just dumb Scooby-Doo titles.
Yeah.
Well, here is the premise for this episode coming from Scoobypedia. The kids take a vacation to Pratt's ski lodge, but they're not the only ones. Pretty soon, the ghost of Jeremiah Pratt shows up to look for his lost caravan and a fortune of gold. Okay, so wait a minute. They are the only ones. Because they are the only ones there.
Yeah.
I mean, we see guests before the intro, but by this point, they're gone.
Everybody got scared away.
So this premise lied.
Yeah.
Scoobypedia, get on that shit. I'm gonna at you.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Well, get kicked off Scoobypedia.
Ooh, yeah, we're not gonna be allowed to use their premises anymore. We're going to write our own.
Oh, no.
And they're not gonna be good. So the episode begins with us seeing some skiers. They're out on the mountain. One of them exclaims about how he's never seen so much snow at this ski slope, even though the mountains don't have any snow on them at the top.
Yeah, the top of the mountains are just completely clean. They're black. There's nothing there. But that's the most snow we've ever seen.
And they're about to go down the slope when they hear something. A hand just pops up out of the snow. And one of the guys was just like, "Oh no, what's that?" And then it's Jeremiah Pratt, to which he instantly recognizes the ghost as Jeremiah Pratt. It's like, oh no, it's the ghost of Jeremiah Pratt. And they talk like this, everyone that's not the gang, throughout the entire episode.
The maid and the owner.
Yeah, they talk like that, kind of.
They talk like this.
It's essentially the same, though. Noah Reed is the most unenthusiastic person I've ever met in my entire life.
Noah Reed and his maid, definitely just finished slaughtering, a bunch of puppies. They just have no emotion in their lives at all. Was that too violent?
Anyway. So the ghost attacks, and, now it transitions to the gang arriving at the ski lodge. They're all excited to go skiing. Scrappy especially. He is just itching to grab his skis out of the mystery machine, get in the hotel, check in. He's ready to go.
He wants to go skiing.
Right. And we hear Velma for the first time. And I don't know what it is about this episode in particular, because we've watched other episodes in this same series already. But her voice actor is doing a terrible garbage job today.
I hate it
Marla
so
Frumkin needs to fuck off.
I hate it.
I hate her.
I just want to know why, she's... Is she only for, this one?
She sticks around for a minute.
I hate her.
She's around for a while, I'm pretty sure.
Look, I feel really bad for whoever she is, because I don't like you. But, if you ever want to come and, join on the show, we'd consider it.
No, I veto you. No.
Just so we can tell her we hate her to her face.
Oh, okay.
She'll sit down and
Marla Frumkin, come to my apartment in Michigan. Just so I can tell you I hate you. Good idea.
Clickbait, just telling Marla Frumkin how much we hate her.
This is going to be an episode on its own. I'm just going to upload it.
Yeah.
It's just, we just declare our hatred for Marla Frumkin, completely separate of the episode. And it just says, fuck off, Marla Frumkin.
Yeah.
So, some cartoon antics happen. Scooby is levitating for a moment because Scrappy is, stretching the backpack or something.
I don't know, it was super weird.
Anyway, the door to the building opens to this old lady. She's floating because there's no floor. She's just floating over a green background inside.
Everything is green inside.
And the first thing she says is, "You must leave at once." Okay,
but
bye.
It's so much meaner than that. She opens the door and she's like, "You must leave at once."
She's really cutthroat, get out of here.
Just get the fuck out.
You can't have a refund? No.
Just
bye.
Get in your car and leave. Then it turns out she isn't anybody but the cleaning lady. So, like, you're just chasing away business so you can lose your job? I don't really know.
But before we meet Noah Reed, we also see Scooby, like, now get slingshotted back into the mystery machine, and he pops his head through the front seat. Like, his head goes through the fabric.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking to myself, like, Fred's going to be pissed when he sees that.
Fred is going to kill you.
So we do meet Noah Reed now, and he's just like, this is my maid, and come on in. And it's like, okay, so your maid is driving away business.
Well,
fire her.
And while they're still outside and, like, you know, everybody's still concerned, before we meet Noah, Scrappy starts going off and he's like, you can't scare us away, you can't scare away. My Uncle Scooby is so cool, blah, blah, blah.
Scooby stops him behind him.
Slides him behind him like, shut the fuck up.
But I just like that Noah doesn't mind that his employee is just telling guests to leave.
Yeah, he's like, oh, don't mind her.
Basically. Well, no, he doesn't even sound like that nonchalant, because he also sounds like every other non-essential character in this episode. Come on in, guys. I am the owner, Noah Reed. That's what they fucking sound like. And it's bugging me because just every word they say is so stilted. It's just the dialogue throughout the entire episode.
Like, we're only stuttering because we're so, like, dumbfounded about this.
Yes. It's like, let's bring in voice actors that don't know how to act and also have never spoken before in their life.
Because I'm going to say, like, we're not voice actors, but we can read a script perfectly fine. Like.
Right. So now they're inside and they're telling the gang about how the ski lodge is being haunted by Jeremiah Pratt. He was a money transporter person in the 1800s, and he parked his wagon down at the bottom of the mountain, and there was an avalanche, and he was never seen again.
Neither was the
wagon.
The
right.
wagon,
Yep,
yeah.
So all that money went missing, I guess.
All the meanwhile, as they're describing this to the gang, Scrappy's just running around all the fuck over the place.
I like that he opens a closet really slightly. I don't even really think he looks inside it.
He peeked in, which pissed me off because I was like, you saw that mess and you left it there.
He left the door open. Scooby runs up to it and also opens it to see if Scrappy's in there. And all this shit that's in this closet just falls on him.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. Noah mentions that Pratt died in 1865. So I'm glad that we have that frame of reference.
Yeah.
We needed to know this. And this is when we see Scrappy, like, burst his head through the jaw of this moose head that's on the wall. And I'm just like, ooh, it's a Moose Jaw cameo. By the way, guys, I got a new job at Moose Jaw. I'm pretty excited. We also now meet Will Henry. So Will Henry is the ski instructor for this lodge.
Yeah.
He's really nice. Like, he's got the nicest voice that you hear out of the entire
really
episode.
Nice.
So you know he's the villain.
Oh, of course, because everybody else either sounds like this or sounds like this. And he sounds regular.
Yes. And I just think it's funny because ultimately in the end of the episode, he has like the least like concrete evidence against him as being the ghost.
Yeah.
You know, because the other two characters, Noah and the maid, I think her name was Winter or something.
I don't know. I honestly didn't pay
Fred
attention.
said it at some point, but I don't think they ever actually said her name otherwise. But, you know, they keep pointing at those two characters a couple times, you know, in happenstance as, oh, well, they might be the villain. And it's like, no, they're not. Because they don't have personalities at all.
No. They don't have the gung-ho in it.
They don't have souls.
Yeah.
These characters don't have souls.
They don't have enough soul.
Yeah.
Like, they don't have any, but, like, definitely not enough to pull off anything.
The voice actors don't have souls.
No.
At one point, Noah Reed is giving the gang their keys to their rooms, and Will walks past them. And, like, when he walks past, you can't see Noah for a second.
Yeah.
But then once he has passed, you see Noah again, but his mouth is missing. I'm just like, oh, great. He stopped talking. Awesome. He can't talk anymore.
Hey, look, good news.
And Scrappy chases the Will guy out the building because, like, he's just ready to fight everything.
Well, because Scrappy's running around and, like, everything is a ghost or the ghost is somewhere, and then Will comes out and he's like, all right, I'm gonna go, you know, teach ski lessons or whatever the fuck he does
I'm gonna go
there.
fucking do my job.
And Scrappy, like, tackles him, and he's like, have you seen a ghost?
Are you the ghost?
And he's like, no. And he goes, are you a ghost? And he was like, you're such a cute pup. And he was like, I'm rough and tough.
Yeah.
And it was just like...
Scrappy
okay.
was ready to fight.
Oh,
I mean, he always is, but I think in the classic version of him, he's just ready to fight everything. Everyone. Like...
You looked at me?
I'm surprised he didn't fight that moose head. Honestly,
yeah.
So they go to their rooms. I noted that Fred had his own room.
I thought that was weird.
Like the girls are sleeping together and Shaggy's sleeping with the dogs. And...
which is hilarious. You would think if anything the dogs would get their own room, but it was like
no, you would think the dogs would sleep in the fucking car, but no, so Fred gets his own room, which he paid extra.
He paid extra. He was like, I'm not trying to deal with nobody's bullshit right now.
Scrappy runs into the room to try and find a ghost. Scooby's scared that he will find something and then instantly bursts into tears. Just from the thought of it. Like, nothing's confirmed yet. It's the prospect of there being a ghost in his room.
It's literally my life. Me just overthinking and then just crying
and
about
they were projectile tears, too. Like, they're not falling down his face. They're just bursting out of his eyes.
Painful. Just to like shoot tears from your eyes.
So Scrappy's just like, aw man, there's no ghost in here. And Shaggy goes, isn't that just our luck? Like, aw man.
Aw, too bad. Like,
oh well.
Damn.
So then he goes over to the window and he says, well, let's see what kind of view we have from up here. He opens the curtain. I'll talk about the curtain in a second.
Yeah, I have an issue with that.
But he opens the curtain. The ghost is standing there. And he says, oh, well, we'll have to complain to Mr. Reed about this, Scoob. We won't be able to see anything if somebody doesn't make this ghost get out of our way.
Like, oh, okay.
Just so casual about it.
But I want to talk about
Let's talk about this curtain. Okay.
So... the funny thing is, Derek and I had gotten through both viewings of this, and then
didn't see it at first.
After the scene was over, I went, "Okay, hold on." It just clicked for me. Like, what the fuck is this? So, there's 3 windows, and on each of the far side windows, there's green curtains.
They're closed. You can't see anything.
No.
Shaggy just opened...
the middle one.
The middle one, but he didn't open the green curtains. The green curtains were already pulled.
Yeah, you can see that there are green curtains. They're just pulled off to the side already. And then there's like a projector screen there. And that's what he had pulled up.
So, like, why?
Like,
I got tired of looking at these green curtains. I'm going to cover them with a shade.
But like that's my confusion. Is like, it has to be something like a projector screen or like a new shade, which like, why would you get a new shade?
Again, he's tired of looking at the green curtains.
And then I also have a projector in my house, and like, you don't put them on top of the window.
Well, I don't think anyone would.
No, so
this is a really illogical scene, Shannon.
Like,
that's what the point of this conversation is.
That's what I'm saying, though. It's like, so what is it? Why is it there? And
he doesn't want to look at the green curtains.
But then, even so, of all of that, there's like this weird board, like shade thing on the top.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. I don't know what it's called, but it's stupid and useless, and I don't know why it's there. But we're looking at the screen right now because this is just where we paused it, to collect our intro for this episode. But we're seeing the ghost. He's staring right at the camera, so that's nice.
Breaking the third wall. Good job.
The window doesn't appear to be there, so it just looks like a door. And also, Shaggy has his hair just going in every direction, like he does when he's scared, like you do.
It's alarming.
He is alarmed. He is about to die.
Yeah.
I also noted throughout this episode that he doesn't commonly... I don't even think he ever really is wearing his regular green t-shirt.
No.
He's wearing like this brown long-sleeve turtleneck.
Velma dressed him.
This isn't his shirt.
No. He forgot his, and Velma was like, here, I have a spare.
I don't believe that Velma has any clothing that's not orange, Shannon. Like, Velma only wears orange, and Daphne only wears purple.
Except for in the Scooby-Doo 2 movie, Monsters Unleashed, when she's like, oh, I have an outfit, that would look great on you, and it happens to be orange.
Right, yes.
And
I
it was
forgot
like,
about that.
oh.
The leather suit.
Yeah, and I was like, why does Daphne have this in orange?
I don't believe she owns
No,
that.
she bought it specifically for Velma.
Right. She was waiting for the day to pull it out for Velma.
She didn't know how to say, like, throw your old shit away and here's your new outfit.
It's time to look sexy.
But anyway, back to this.
Back to this, which is a completely different thing.
I also want to talk about the carpet.
It's like a floral pattern on a purple background.
But it looks like a 4-year-old did it, like, with their fingers.
Oh, you mean like just in the scene, the way they're drawn and painted? Yes. But
Like,
that's just what Scooby-Doo is, though.
No, I know. But I want to, like, go back and rewatch it and just see if the carpet is always ugly throughout the entire, show. We're not going to.
Oh, so, like, we're now going to start a spin-off podcast. It's called That Groovy Carpet.
Yeah.
And we're just going to review Scooby-Doo episodes, but in this case, we're talking about the floors.
We're talking about the backgrounds.
No, just the floors. Just the floors.
That groovy flooring.
That groovy rug.
That groovy rug.
I will make
so much to edit out of this.
I will make a note of that groovy rug.
That groovy rug.
That podcast is launching in May.
No, it's not. We don't have time.
We're going to drop a special episode called That Groovy Rug.
I'd be okay with that. Okay.
Back to Rocky Mountain Yiiiii!
So then Scooby, Shaggy, and Scrappy all, run out of the room, which Scrappy is always extra disappointed that he doesn't get to fight the ghost.
And he was in this case as well.
Yeah.
They burst into Daphne and Velma's room.
They slide in.
Yeah, they don't really... It wasn't really dramatic.
No,
yeah.
They just, slid in and we're like, hey.
And they didn't knock or anything. And keep in mind, they're going into the girls' room.
To be fair, the door was open.
I don't think it was.
Because I thought they slid, right by the door.
I'm pretty sure they opened the door.
Oh, okay.
But regardless, it's just, they just sneak in. And Velma and Daphne aren't, offended. What if we were naked?
Honestly... At this point, they've all known each other long enough that, Shaggy's wearing her shirt.
Shaggy's wearing her turtleneck, yes.
They've seen it all.
They're fine. Fred also shows up out of nowhere.
He just, hears the ruckus.
Slips in behind, and he's just what's going on? So Shaggy, Scooby, Scrappy, they all explain that they saw the ghost. They run out of Velma and Daphne's... Okay, I don't get this. Was that window a door? I joked a moment ago that it was a door, but now I actually think it is a door.
I don't know.
Because they do go outside.
Oh, yeah, because they have porches.
Yeah, so that must be some kind of a door.
Maybe. But then why wouldn't... I don't know.
Anyway, they're now on the porch outside the room.
Yeah.
And
of the girls' room.
Yes. And they don't see anything, and then they hear something. The ghost is now standing on the roof, because, of course.
Because that happens.
And... this is the most jerk moment I've ever seen for a monster. So he's get off my property, you're trespassing. He has a southern voice, which just bothers me to no end.
Yeah.
And he kicks the snow on top of them from the roof. But he didn't do it to harm them or anything. He just did it to be a dick.
Yeah.
He didn't harm anybody. He just kicked the snow on them just to be a fucking asshole.
Because, maybe if I bully them enough, they'll leave.
I mean, I probably would do. Because then Scrappy's just oh, that's it. Let me at him. It's yeah, you know what, guys? Let him at him.
Scrappy gets really pissed off at the ghost.
Yeah, he's not having any of his shit. Later when he's just just make one more step. I dare you. I'm yeah.
Yeah.
So they decide that they're going to, split up and start their investigation. Fred, Daphne, and Velma are going to ride the ski lift up to Jeremiah Pratt's old cabin, which I'm shocked is still there because...
it's 2 centuries later.
And then Shaggy, Scooby, and Scrappy are going to hang out down at the bottom of the slope, and I don't know what their reasoning was for that.
Honestly, I think it was just because the ghost is probably not going to be where I am. So I'm just going to stay here. I
like that Shaggy was just we're going to check things out down here. And Scooby's check things out. And he's yeah, check us out of the hotel.
Yeah.
And then Scooby's I don't get it. I think that's the first time I've ever seen it, like, while we've been doing this podcast, that he does the I don't get it joke.
Yeah.
Because he does it several times later from, memory. So, they start to look around there. They decide to actually go skiing now.
Which is weird.
I just don't see them as skiers.
Well, and
Shaggy especially, I don't see him being a skier.
Hey, he is a world gymnast. Or something with gymnast.
You keep saying world. No, he was just the most swingingest gymnast in school.
Okay, well, he was still a gymnast. Like, he's sporty. Kind of. Anyway. But, like, everybody else is clue hunting, and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna go have fun.
I'm gonna go skiing.
Yeah.
So, they go up to the top of the slope, and Scooby and Shaggy are ready to go down, and Scrappy's looking at this sign. So, he notices that the bunny slope, which is what they want to use, is in the opposite direction of where they're about to go. So, he brushes off the snow to see what the other option is, and the other option is danger.
Great.
Yeah, that's a great name.
Great name for a hill.
So the bunny slope is the only option that they really offer here at the Pratt Lodge.
Your options are the bunny hill or danger. Death. You get to choose.
Because they do somehow accidentally do go down this slope. And I noted that, like, at the bottom of it, there's like an ice bridge that connects the bottom of the hill to another bottom of the hill.
That only Scrappy makes it over.
Right, yeah, because then when he goes over it, the ice shatters and breaks.
Yep.
I don't remember what exactly happened to Scooby and Shaggy. Did they go down it, or they went through snow or something?
The hill.
Yes.
They went through the hill, and then when they came out on the other side, Scooby had a hibernating bear on his skis.
I don't think bears hibernate like that.
I don't think they just find a patch of snow and start sleeping.
Now, I was disappointed in this bear, though, because the bear that we saw in the Scary Night with the Snow Beast Fright, that bear looked really realistic. This one looked really cartoony.
He looked like Yogi Bear on crack.
Appropriate observation.
Yeah.
I agree. So, Scooby ends up, like, knocking the bear into a tree while going down the hill, and he rejoins Shaggy and Scrappy, and Scrappy does this, like, goat laugh. Like, oh, okay. I had to rewind it just to make sure I wasn't imagining it. But then I also have to remember, whenever I think I'm imagining something in a Scooby-Doo episode these days, it likely actually happened.
It happened.
At one point, Scooby and Shaggy are, continuing going down this danger slope, and they realize that Scooby's about to hit a tree. So Shaggy, kind of closes his eyes, like, out of fear, like, oh my god, I don't want to watch what happens. And he hears Scooby, like, do some kind of a maneuver. You don't see him do it.
No, but you hear a maneuver happen.
And he looks back at the tracks. So his tracks are going straight, because he went around the tree. Scooby's legs separate. One leg goes around one end of the tree, and the other goes down the other side of the tree. And Shaggy says, oh boy, I gotta remember to ask him how he did that.
Which we never find out.
We don't, and for one, that's a genuinely funny joke. I actually thought that was really funny. But also, I want to know how he did it. So,
in the last episode, he, like, stretched his hand really, really big and made the stomp to show...
Right, we thought that he was the same kind of dog as Jake from Adventure Time.
I'm holding that.
Maybe he, like, stretched his legs super tall, and he just went over the tree.
Yeah, I'm holding to that.
Okay.
He's the same alien as Jake.
Okay. I'll accept that.
Okay.
And then, after that part, Scrappy goes over, like, a bump in the snow, and Scooby and Shaggy burst into it.
Again.
And it turns out the ghost is just hiding underneath that slump of snow for no fucking reason.
But this isn't the first time we've seen Jeremiah Pratt's ghost hiding in just random parts of snow.
Because that's what he was doing at the beginning of the episode. Like, he wasn't digging. The other scares we saw didn't just stumble upon him in the act of what he's doing. He's just chilling underneath a pile of snow.
He's waiting.
Like, okay, so not only is he hiding underneath the snow, but he's also hiding underneath snow in the danger slope.
Like,
no one's supposed to be going down the danger slope. So what if, like, they didn't go down it?
Maybe he was hibernating. Like
the bear. After they reveal that the ghost is there, Scrappy goes into another, like, I'm ready to fight fit. Because he goes, let's take him from the left, and then we'll take him from the right, and then we'll take him from the front, and then we'll take him from the back. And he's got this planned out. But the problem is that there's only 3 of them.
That was my thing, was he said something about, we have you surrounded. And I was like...
No, you fucking don't.
First off, you only have 3 people. I can only have you triangled.
And also, you guys are currently moving. You are skiing down a hill.
And, like, Scooby and Shaggy are still next to each other.
Right.
I only have you in a line.
It cuts away from this scene. I think they just continue, being attacked by the ghost. We see Fred, Daphne, and Velma enter the cabin. And the first thing we hear is Daphne say, do you really think we'll find a clue in here? And literally, like, less than a second. I think she was still saying that when, I think it was Velma or her, was it Daphne?
Yeah.
As she's saying this, Daphne just steps on a plank on the floor of the cabin, and a book is just hiding underneath it.
The worst thing about this, though, is that, like, the plank that she steps on, like, lifts so far into the air that I'm like, had Fred stepped on it, he could have, like, hit himself in the face.
The wood is flown up in his face.
like it's not secured.
I've also just always loved this in cartoons in general. Like, it's not just a Scooby-Doo thing, but whatever is going to move in the scene is actually drawn and is like a single color, while everything else around it is painted.
Yeah.
So, like, you can tell that is an important piece to the scene.
I know what's gonna happen.
Exactly. So the book turns out to be Jeremiah Pratt's diary. Velma opens it, and the first page, property of Jeremiah Pratt.
So you know it's important.
You do. This is a really well-preserved diary from the 1800s that's hidden underneath a wooden floor in a cabin on top of a snowy hill.
The only thing that doesn't help them, because, they found this really nice clue, they found it quickly. The only disappointment is that the last page was ripped out.
That's a bummer.
But the good news is that Jeremiah Pratt wrote so hard
with his pen
that it was indented on the other side. And if they can just find some charcoal, they can rub it out and
and it'll be fine. Because Daphne's like not understanding what Velma's saying at all. Like, what does that mean? How does that help us, Velma?
She's like, she MacGyvered it. She was just like, I need some charcoal, and everybody was like, why? And they were like, it's better not to ask.
Okay, let's go just find charcoal.
Yeah.
In this cabin from the 1800s sitting on top of a hill.
But they found it.
They did find it. But we'll get to that in a second. Scooby, Shaggy, and Scrappy, they end up like going into a snowball, when you're rolling down a snowy hill, and that trope in a snow episode.
When it happens.
You know what we're talking about. And Jeremiah Pratt's also caught up in this. They crash into a frozen river.
And just shatter it.
Shatters the entire river. And now they're just floating on a block of ice. Scrappy is just talking about this ghost. Like, oh my god, the ghost, da, da, da. And Shaggy's like, you need to stop talking about the ghost.
And he goes, can I just say one more thing about the ghost?
What?
It's behind you.
So, here's my thing. The ghost wasn't there a moment ago when we saw them on that ice, which means he was in the water. This frozen water.
He's a ghost. He's already dead.
No, he's not. For one, he was hiding underneath a pile of snow.
He was preparing his body for that ice-cold water by hiding in snow that whole time.
Oh, so it's just a countermeasure.
Yeah.
It's okay.
He was prepping his body, and then he almost died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, he's threatening them. He's just like, I'll get you. And Scrappy's just like, just try something. I dare ya.
I'm sorry, we would have been Scooby and Shaggy in that instance, just like in each other's arms crying.
They start hopping onto other pieces of ice to get away from him, because the river is now going into this ice cave. It's an ice cave!
Stop.
There was a fucking ice cave in this episode.
Anyway. Keep in mind, though, that, like, this ice cave is still well lit, because, like, the sun is out and ice is reflective. And so they're, like, just floating into this ice cave, and suddenly Scooby, Shaggy, and Scrappy all, like, hide without the ghost seeing.
Yeah, because they go and hide, like, just behind this ice on the side of the cave.
Yeah.
And Jeremiah continues floating into the cave, and he's like, where'd you go? I'll get ya. just screaming nonsense. Scrappy's about to yell back at him and reveal where they are, but Scooby and Shaggy cover his mouth, and it's like, shh. And this is my favorite conversation between Shaggy, Scooby, and Scrappy in any instance.
It was just it really brought to light how young Scrappy is.
And how fearful for his life Shaggy is.
Shaggy's always fearful for his life.
But he actually verbalized it here.
Yeah.
But Scrappy is like, what are you doing? He's getting away. And Shaggy responds, no, we're getting away. I don't think you understand. This is about staying alive.
And you're just too young to understand that. And Scrappy gets so offended and he goes, I'm not too young. I get it.
And looks at Scooby.
Yeah, don't I, Uncle Scooby? And Scooby's just like, I don't fucking know.
And Scrappy just continues to go I get it, while Shaggy goes and finds an ice ladder. Because,
those exist.
Yeah. But like I said, Shaggy was just this is about staying alive. Shaggy is actually shook.
Yeah.
To his core.
Yeah.
How alarmed he looked in this scene that's still frozen on our TV screen when he found the ghost behind the window. This is him now.
He never left that alarmed
state. Yeah. He's in shock.
Yeah. Ghosts are real now.
They climb up the ice ladder, and it turns out the top of it opens into a trap door that's opening into the cabin that Fred, Daphne, and Velma are in.
And then just the fastest, most random scene occurred where they pop up and Daphne, Velma, and Fred are all like, whoa, where'd you come from? What's down there?
Well, actually, you know what? We got to talk about what was in the diary entry, though.
Oh, okay. Yep.
So Velma did find that charcoal miraculously, and she reveals the date of the entry in this diary.
Never reveals anything else.
Yeah, she doesn't write the charcoal anywhere else on the paper, but she can read it just fine. Yeah. Because then she just starts reading. She also chucks the charcoal at the wall and just been I can read just fine. And just kind of revealed that the wagon was containing the money that, it said eagles. She said that it was full of eagles, which Daphne was just that's a weird thing to just transport. I mean, also fair. I also get Daphne's confusion
I was pretty confused because I was just so you have a covered wagon full of
You did
eagles?
Say that too. I'm imagining that now.
When they found the covered wagon, I was like, and there were a bunch of eagles in there?
Listeners, I want one of you to draw an old-timey wagon from the 1800s.
From the Oregon Trail.
From the Oregon Trail. And I want you to look up Jeremiah Pratt. Draw Jeremiah Pratt, just, leading this wagon. And inside it is just a ton of eagles. Actual bald eagles.
Maybe a few sitting on top of the wagon and, attacking and, pecking his head.
And attacking the horses that have to be drawing this wagon.
There's just thousands of eagles inside, and they're all just what the fuck is happening?
Yep.
Because I felt so stupid, because I was just obviously that's not what's happening, but I don't know what else eagles could be.
So I'm equally as confused as Daphne. Yeah. I relate here. But like we said before, Shaggy, Scooby, Scrappy, they burst through the trap door. But I like that when they opened the door and everything, Fred, Daphne, and Velma were still really focused on that book. Yeah. They didn't look at Shaggy, Scooby, and Scrappy at all.
They were not concerned with who was coming through the floor.
They were just very fixated on this eagles. You know what? They're all probably drawing with the eagles with the charcoal. With the charcoal while the guys are bursting through this door. But Scrappy tells them that they have trapped the ghost down there, which no, you didn't, Scrappy, but
okay.
Don't know why you're telling them this. But they got so excited.
They bolted. They were like, oh, the ghost is down there, bye.
Basically. They were all so excited. But my thing is what are you going to do? What are you going to do when you get down there and the ghost is there? You're going to run away.
There was no chase scene. With chase scene music? Because I was really thinking that that's what was going to happen when the gang ran down there.
I just kind of think that them... the guys going down the slope kind of just substituted for that, because that took up 2 or 3 scenes on its own.
Yeah.
Because after they leave, Scooby, Shaggy, and Scrappy are now alone in the cabin. They're now huddling by the fireplace that's inside. I don't believe that this chimney would be functional.
believe this house is still standing, but you know what? It is.
And it's got a well-preserved diary in
Yeah.
it. And a trap door into the hill that has an ice ladder.
So, you know...
And an ice cave.
I'm gonna say that the fire can work.
Fred, Daphne, and Velma, they're now at the bottom of the ice ladder. I'm sorry, this is ice ladder. I fucking love it. In an ice cave.
In an ice cave.
So they find these horribly hidden explosives and shovels. They're hidden behind like blocks of ice.
Like giant ice cubes.
They're ice cubes.
She's like, Daphne goes, hey, look, a hidden cave. And I'm like, excuse me, those are giant ice cubes?
Like, it looks manually stacked. Like
not even well.
No, it's not well. But I'm just like, that's a well-hidden stash of explosives and a shovel.
Good job.
Shaggy, Scooby, and Scrappy try to escape the cabin from the ghost who's now attacking them. They're on the ski lift, and I like that while they're on it, the ghost grabs the cord and like shakes the entire thing. So I'm like, okay, so you're just super strong.
Yeah.
That you can just do that.
And like those cords are really big because they're holding like 1,000 pounds.
Right.
So he just wraps his whole one hand around it and just shakes.
It works, yep. And they do end up falling from the lift. They land in some snow.
And Scrappy goes, now I'm mad and I won't forget this. Ghost.
Sorry, Scrappy, but I'm mad and I won't forget the fact that you guys just had a bunch of snow kicked on you from the roof of the hotel. Like, that's what I'm pissed about.
Scrappy, everybody is upset right now.
So they become ice cubes. They're frozen.
Yeah, so they become... Which, this isn't the first time we've seen a human ice cube, or a Scooby ice cube.
Yeah, because we did see that in the last episode.
So it happens, apparently, if you stay too long.
Fred, Daphne, and Velma show up, and they're like, oh no, you're frozen, oh no.
Go to the sauna and relax.
Oh, no, because the maid is just outside, no coat or anything. She just happens to be outside, and she's like, you guys should go in the sauna. And it's like, why are you out here?
Why are you outside?
Don't you have a room to clean? You're a maid.
Yeah.
Who are you? But then Fred, this is when we learn her name, because Fred like called her like Miss Winter or something. And I'm like, okay, for one, that's a stupid fucking name.
She's Miss Winter. She doesn't need a coat.
Well, no, my thing is that they're like in the middle of, you know, a wintry ski lodge, and her name is Winter. Come on.
Cute.
This is like Jonathan Johnson. But yeah, so they go in the sauna. They're cooling off in there, and they're trying to melt the ice.
And all of a sudden, this random person that we're not supposed to see because there's supposed to be this hot air, but it's very clearly the ghost.
Yeah.
Sits next to Shaggy, and Shaggy's...
He's between Scooby and Shaggy.
Yeah.
Shaggy doesn't tell that it's him.
No, you can't, because you're not supposed to be able to see.
Right.
And then the ghost just looks at Shaggy right in his face and goes, ah!
Just fucking screams. I'm imagining being in the sauna on the cruise ship I went on in August, and just a guy walks in, sits right next to me, and goes, ah! And I'm like, face? I'm going to leave, and I'm jumping off the boat.
I'm jumping off the boat. Because could you imagine, like, seeing him later on in the night and being like, Mom, that's the guy I was telling you about. He's the one that yelled at me in the sauna.
And he's looking at you, and he's got his wife next to him. It's like, what's going on?
And he's pointing at you like, yeah, that's that motherfucker I screamed at.
So they run out of the sauna. The guys crash into like a pile of skis. Scooby wants to tell the gang that there's the ghost, because he's like, go. And Shaggy like stops him, and he's like, no, don't tell him. They'll want to capture it.
They'll want to chase after it.
They'll want to chase after it. Same.
I mean, if you kept running after something, I'd stop telling you. I just want to live a calm, relaxing life.
Right. This is when they discover their clue, which like nail in the coffin just confirms that William guy, whatever his fucking name is.
William Henry.
William Henry. This just confirms that William Henry is the villain, because they find some skis that have his initials on them with a P at the end.
Honestly, it doesn't even have, like...
It just says WHP. So for one...
That could be a company name.
It might not even be Will's. Like, what if it's just someone else who has... Okay, so here's my thing. He introduced himself at the beginning of the episode as William Henry.
Yeah.
So when
To
you
me,
hear
that's his
that,
last
that's his
name.
last name is Henry. So when you see this, do you think, like,
Yeah.
let's put this together. So we're being chased after a ghost
Well,
whose last name is Pratt. And then we meet this guy named William Henry, who has given us no indication. We have no evidence whatsoever to suggest that Henry is not his last name.
Okay, but let's think about it this way. If, because you and your brother both have the same initials, don't you?
Not our middle name, but yeah, we're both DQ.
So, okay, so let's say that DQ is just written on this.
Like, it could be mine or it could be Devin's.
Like, we don't know.
When my mom was still married to my dad, it could have been my mom's.
Yeah.
It could have been Donna's. It could have been Devin's. It could have been Derek's. Like,
we don't know.
But you don't, exactly. But, like, not only that, they have no evidence or any, like, past things, like, to make them think, oh, well, maybe Henry isn't his last name.
Yeah. And they haven't even seen him since then.
Because, okay, Velma picks up the ski, sees the initials, and she's like, it's all coming together. It's like...
Nothing has happened.
No, nothing has happened. All you have found was the ghost's diary and
dynamite
explosives.
and a shovel.
And a shovel in an ice cave.
In an ice cave.
With a nice ladder.
And giant ice cubes.
It has to be William Henry. So Fred's just like, I bet you have a plan coming together. And Velma, in her fucking Marla Frumpkin voice, just says it so awkwardly. She's like, naturally. But we'll need everyone's help. I swear to God, when I hear her voice as Velma and the way she talks, it sounds like she's like narrating to kids. Like, you know how when Dora is talking to the kids in Dora the Explorer, she's like, where's the goblin? And then there's like an arrow that goes across the screen. Like, I'm imagining Velma just being like, but we'll need everyone's help. Where's the rope? And then an arrow just goes fucking across the screen. That's what Marla Frumpkin makes me think when she's being Velma.
Derek.
What?
Velma's possessed, and the demon's name is Marla.
Marla Frumpkin is the fucking demon possessing Velma. This is now canon. No, this isn't even canon. This is just real life.
It's real
Marla
life.
Frumpkin is a demon from hell. She infiltrated Velma's body, and she's not leaving.
She's not letting go.
Naturally.
Naturally, but we'll need everyone's help.
So Velma gathers the only 3 other people at the entire lodge, which is the owner, the instructor, and the maid. They're all in this room, and they're talking about bullshit.
Nothing.
The maid is offering them hot cocoa because thank you. And this is when they hear an explosion.
Which is the only time that we see the explosion.
Yeah, I was pretty sure that's the only time we've heard it. Because at the end they justify like, the explosions being like the ghostly sound. Like we never heard a ghostly sound.
And also we've never seen the gang use evidence to capture the criminal.
I was just about to say they must have set off explosives because they did kind of cause a scene that distracted everybody. So yeah, they definitely exploded stuff. So Velma and the other 3, they run to the window and they're like, that must have been an avalanche. Oh my God. And Velma points out the top of this wagon that's sitting off in the distance. And she's like, oh, well, that avalanche must have uncovered the wagon.
And then she goes, I'm going to go outside and check it out.
But here's my thing with that. One part where she's looking out the window, she's wearing her normal outfit, sweater, short skirt. And then in the next cut, she's instantly wearing her coat and scarf.
She got ready quick.
Real quick.
That's how the plan was supposed to go.
She's possessed. She can do that.
Yeah.
So she runs out there to, go and check it out. And she just fucking climbs into a tree with Daphne and Fred. Daphne and Fred are in the tree for a reason. They're holding up a net so they can capture the ghost.
But, everybody knew Velma was going to check it out.
Right,
so
like, why do you need to hide it? Right. Shaggy, Scrappy, and Scooby, they're holding up the top of, like, a fake, old-timey wagon. They're trying to, lure the ghost over. And it works. The ghost appears. And Velma, in the Marla Frumpkin voice, look, it worked. The ghost has appeared.
Oh.
I hate it. I'm sorry, I can't get over this bullshit.
The ghost is, like, also knee-deep in snow.
Yes, right. Like, how are you even standing?
I would hate my life after that.
He discovers that, it was a fake wagon, and he's all mad. Fred and Daphne drop the net, and then Scrappy, like a little shit, attacks the ghost.
It's been pent-up anger. He's been waiting to fucking kill this ghost.
So he pushes the ghost out from underneath the net.
Yeah.
And the plan fails.
Now,
Good
luckily,
job.
When they set off the explosion,
it triggers an actual avalanche.
Which then uncovers the actual old wagon. So, like, their plan happened for real and it worked.
I just hate that when the avalanche is happening, they all just sound so calm. They're just like, it's an avalanche and it's coming our way.
So what do they do, though?
Well, no.
So the avalanche is coming and it's about to hit the wagon. So instead of, like...
No, the wagon is coming towards them, too.
Yeah, but, like, that could get buried at any moment. It could get swept up in the avalanche, and they all hop in the fucking wagon.
Well, Fred said that's the only way to survive it.
Even the ghost did.
Yeah, the ghost hopped into the wagon, too.
And then, like, the avalanche does take the wagon. And then everybody else survives, but the ghost gets caught in snow. Because
Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
So, the ghost is captured, the wagon has been discovered, and this is when we learn that the Eagles term that was in the diary was in reference to $10 gold coins from, back in old-timey U.S. The money had gone missing, as a result of Pratt dying and all that bullshit. And the ghost is William Henry Pratt. Because Fred even says, and if our guess is correct, which guess...
You're going to arrest somebody over a guess?
They fucking guessed. But they guessed that it was...
right.
Yep, that P... It could have been a last name for anything. It could have been Parker, Parsons, Peters, like anything. And, it's him.
Now, William's excuse for going after the gold and everything is, well, my great-grandfather was transporting it when it went missing, so it's mine.
Velma was quick, too.
She was like, no, this belongs to Uncle Sam.
No, actually, it was Marla Frumpkin that corrected him. Because,
it was the demon.
Well, she sounded so like, the moral of the story is, that's Uncle Sam's money.
Mm-hmm.
Not quite, you silly goose.
Silly rabbit. Tricks are for kids.
Silly American. Money's for the government. So, he's arrested for reasons.
Do we see him get arrested?
No, we don't.
Like, it just cuts. We don't see anything.
But what for? What would he have been arrested for?
Attempted robbery? Like, not even?
So he didn't succeed.
That's the thing, is he couldn't have been arrested. Because as far as you and I are concerned, he sent out the dynamite.
Yeah, that's right. We never. Like, he did have explosives.
He did have them, but like, try proving that they're his.
Right, like all of that's circumstantial.
Yeah,
you cannot definitively prove unless there's receipts somewhere, which I don't think there are because it's Scooby-Doo.
Yeah,
but no, the only thing that ties Will Henry Pratt to this entire thing is the gang's guess. Which they. That
specifically said guess.
That's their guess. So no real investigating is going on here. They're just guessing.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing is like, you could, I guess, get maybe a ticket for like...
I don't know, maybe like public nuisance?
Yeah, public
harassment?
Public harassment, because like, you scared away business. But honestly, like, I don't think you're really going to get much.
I don't know. He got arrested, though. That'll be another spin-off podcast. It'll be like that Groovy Crime.
That Groovy Crime.
We're going to check out if their crimes were actually crimes.
I'd actually really be interested in doing that one, though. We'd have some fun. But that's it. That's the end of it.
Overall, with Rocky Mountain Yiiiii, what is your Scooby Snack-O-Meter rating?
I think I'm going to give it a 6.
Really?
I liked it.
Okay.
It wasn't bad. I don't really know what the crime was, and that's the only issue I have. Because, like, but it was a mystery. Like, we went on an adventure. We had fun. There was an ice cave with an ice ladder. You know?
I'm tired of the fucking ice caves. I'm already over them, and we've only seen 2.
Like, we pulled, like, a special victims crime unit from, like, the 1860s, and, like, we just had some fun. It was a cold case, and we solved it. Uncle Sam got his money back.
Uncle Sam got his money back.
so, like, that's the most important. Because that's all the money Uncle Sam can get from us.
Any other thoughts to justify your 6 for this?
No.
No. I'm not going with a 6. I'm going to give it a 5.
Okay.
I just really didn't think that the mystery was strong here. You know, we kept joking about how there's just no evidence, honestly, that proves that, you know, Will Henry is the villain, aside from the fact that he was caught red-handed. But aside from that, the mystery just did not seem like there was really anything to solve here.
No.
They were just finding a bunch of evidence that didn't point to anybody.
And then they guessed.
Then they guessed, yes.
See, that's how I would solve a crime. I take everything in, and then I guess.
The characters were odd in this episode. I thought that Noah Reed and the maid were the most peculiar people ever with their voice actors. It was just so odd.
I will say I appreciated an entire episode of Velma being possessed.
But at the same time, like, okay, it's funny, but at the same time, I hate it so much.
Yeah, it was really bad.
Sorry, but this is not Velma, and I will despise this rendition of Velma until we never have to see her again. Aside from my faults for it, I thought that the jokes were really funny. I liked that one joke where Shaggy's just like, I have to ask Scooby how he did that. Like, that was really funny. And yeah, it's not an episode I feel like I will want to return to again.
Okay.
It's just not interesting. It's just the lack of a mystery doesn't make me love it. So with my 5 and your 6, we're collectively giving this episode a 5.5.
All right.
All right.
Do you have a fun fact for us this week?
I do indeed. So have we ever talked about Scrappy's voice actor?
I don't think so.
So Scrappy's original voice actor's name was Lenny Weinrib, but that's not the thing I wanted to talk about today. I wanted to talk about the fact that in a lot of the following series that included Scrappy, he wasn't the actor who played Scrappy, but he played other characters in Scooby-Doo cartoons. Don Messick, who voices Scooby in these classic ones, also took over for Scrappy.
Okay.
Meanwhile, Lenny is just in the background being other characters, and I'm just like, why?
My guess would be, like, he probably signed a contract for, like, a certain amount of episodes or something, and then when they were like, we don't like you as Scrappy, like, but we have to withhold, or we have to up, you know, whatever. We have to give you the contract still.
I just think it's funny because Scrappy, I think his canon is from New York City, or, you know, somewhere in the East.
Yeah.
And I think that accent really communicates well in this version of Scrappy, in the first Scooby-Doo and Scrappy-Doo show, which I appreciate. I think that this Scrappy is actually a lot more enjoyable compared to future versions of him. So I just think it's interesting that they pushed off Lenny and made Don Messick the voice for him.
Which Don Messick doesn't do a bad job.
No, he doesn't. But I just
do
think
like this.
I think
better.
Lenny is better.
Yeah.
But I just thought it was interesting that Lenny, instead of doing Scrappy, is doing other voices in the Scooby-Doo cartoons that include Scrappy. So that was just peculiar. But he does a lot of additional voices for like other shows too, like Yogi Bear, the Pebbles and Bam Bam show, the Pink Panther laugh. Yeah, he does a lot. Like, I'm looking at his Wikipedia page, and he has a good list of credits of voices that he's done. So Lenny did a lot of work.
Good job, Lenny.
Yeah. So if you want to talk about this Scooby-Doo episode with us further, you can find us on Twitter. Our Twitter handle is @Groovy Scoobcast.
You can also email us at thatgroovyscoopcast@gmail.com.
Or you can visit our website, www.thatgroovyscoopcast.com. And with that, we hope that you enjoyed That Groovy Scoopcast.
Come back next week for Scooby Snack filled time.
Bye, guys.
Bye.